श्रीपाद श्रीवल्लभत्वं सदैव श्रीदत्तास्मान् पाहि देवाधिदेव भावग्राह्य क्लेशहारिं सुकीर्ते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। त्वं नो माता त्वं पिता प्तोऽधिपस्त्वं त्राता योग क्षेमकृत् सद्गुरुस्त्वं त्वं सर्वस्वं नो प्रभो विश्वमूर्ते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। पापं तापं व्याधिमादिं च दैन्यं भीतिं क्लेशं त्वं हराशुत्वदन्यम् त्रातारन्नो वीक्ष ईशास्त्रजूर्ते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। नान्यस्त्राता न पिता न भर्ता त्वत्तो देव त्वं शरण्योकहर्ता कुर्वात्रेयानुग्रहं पूर्णराते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। धर्मे प्रीतिं सन्मतिं देवभक्तिं सत्सङ्गाप्तिं देहि भुक्तिं च मुक्तिं भावासक्तिं चाखिलानन्दमूर्ते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। श्लोकपञ्चकमेतद्यो लोकमङ्गलवर्धनम् प्रपठेन्नियतो भक्त्या श्रीदत्तप्रियो भवेत् श्रीदत्तप्रियो भवेत् श्रीदत्तप्रियो भवेत् श्रीदत्तप्रियो भवेत्। श्रीपादराजं शरणं प्रपद्ये। श्रीपाद श्रीवल्लभ चरितामृतम Chapter 2. Shankara Bhatta meets Sri Siddhendra Yogi and the story of Vichitrapuram. I, Shankara Bhatta, was recollecting the strange experiences in Marutvamalai and continued my journey while mentally chanting the glorious name of Sripada Sreevallabha. I visited many holy places on the way. I was getting food without soliciting anyone for it. This was a rare experience. I felt that weight of my body was gradually coming down when I reached the Kadamba forest in the Pandya kingdom. There was a Shivalinga of great power. After visiting Ishvara there, my legs became very heavy. I rested for some time in that Shiva's temple and resumed the journey. I found a hermitage nearby. There lived a great person called Sri Siddhendra Yogi. When I prostrated at his lotus feet, my body became lighter than a cotton ball. I was conscious of my body feeling, but the weight of my body had almost become nil. That great preceptor, with a merciful heart, stroked my head and blessed me, saying, "May you have the darshana of Shripada Sreevallabha." That great yogi explained, "My son, Shankara Bhatta, the Shivalinga which you have seen is very powerful. In ancient times, Devendra conquered many demons, but one of them escaped. He was doing penance. Indra killed ruthlessly that Rakshasa while he was in tapas, that is penance. Indra lost his luster because of his sin in killing one doing tapas. Indra visited many holy places for absolution from the sin. As the Shivalinga in the Kadamba forest of Pandya kingdom was very powerful, all the sins of Indra were removed suddenly when Indra reached Kadamba forest. He wondered at it. With the idea that there was something special and great, he searched the place in all directions. He found a Shivalinga. Indra worshipped that Shivalinga with devotion and constructed a temple for that self-manifested Shivalinga. So that was a Shivalinga consecrated by Indra. That Shivalinga removes all sins and confers all auspiciousness. People with great punya, that is virtuous merit, can only see that Shivalinga. But for the devotees of Lord Datta, meeting with pious people and visiting holy places will take place unasked for and without any effort. I again bowed to the lotus feet of Sri Siddhendra Yogi. He asked me to go for the Shivalinga again. When I went there for the second time, I found a beautiful temple of Shiva. This was not the temple which I visited previously. When I inquired, I learned that it was the temple of Sri Meenakshi and Sundareshwara, and that I was in the town of Mathura. I visited the deities and went to the hermitage of Sri Siddhendra Yogi afterwards. The whole area appeared as a thickly populated township. However much I searched, I could not find the hermitage of the Yogindra. Recollecting the holy name of Sripada Sreevallabha, I was going random in some direction. The sunset started. It was getting dark. I saw a focus of light coming from rear side. When I turned back, I saw a big serpent with 3 hoods following me. There were 3 diamonds on those 3 hoods. Brilliant light emitted from those diamonds. I was struck with fear. Whenever I stopped, the serpent was also stopping. The divine name of Sripada was swelling up from the depth of my bosom involuntarily. Similarly, the holy name of Sreepada was being uttered from my mouth involuntarily. At last, I reached the ashrama of Sri Siddha. Immediately, the divine serpent and the light disappeared. Sri Siddha treated me with utmost compassion. He gave me fried chickpeas in a plantain leaf as prasada. I ate bellyful. The palpitation of my heart did not decrease even though I was taking food. Sri Siddha massaged my right breast lightly with love. Afterwards, he touched my head with his holy hand. I noticed the slowing down of palpitation of the heart. I also felt as if some foul gases were purged out of my lungs. I also experienced that all bad thoughts and cruel desires were pushed out of my mind. My body temperature increased and I was in a state of stupor. The greatness of Datta and the qualifications required for obtaining the grace of Shripada. Then Sri Siddha stated as following: Shankara Bhatta, the Shivalinga which you saw at first, and Sri Sundareshwara whom you visited later are not different. Sri Dattatreya ordered that you should be provided with this kind of experience. So it was granted to you accordingly. That means that time was rolled back and the Shivalinga established by Indra and the actual surroundings existing at that time were shown to you. To regard the creation which you witness as real creation is Maya, that is illusion. Everything is embodiment of consciousness. By the will of Lord Datta, future may become present. The consciousness of Lord Datta is eternal present. Whatever happened in the past and whatever is happening at present and whatever is to happen in the future will occur according to the will of Lord Datta. The resolve of Lord Datta is essential for an event to happen, not to happen, or to happen in a different novel way. Sri Dattatreya is the personification of that magnificent determination responsible for the creation, sustenance and liquidation. Now, he has taken birth on this earth as Shripada Sreevallabha. The residents of Pithapuram did not recognize him properly. They failed to understand the philosophy of a guru. In Kuravapuram, even ignorant persons like fishermen obtained knowledge of Brahman. To get the grace of Shripada Sreevallabha, the ahankara, that is arrogance within us, has to be destroyed. All types of pride are to become extinct. Then only we can understand His power, His mercy and His real nature. A merchant named Dhananjaya found the Shivalinga consecrated by Indra and informed the matter to the ruler Kulashekara Pandya. Following the command of Shiva, Kulashekara Pandya developed it and built a town there. He named it Madhura. His son Malayadhwaja Pandya conducted a sacrifice called Putra Kameshthi for obtaining progeny. From the altar of that sacrifice, a 3-year-old baby girl emerged as one not born out of womb. She is Meenakshi Devi. She married Sundareshwara. The Vegavathi river, born out of the matted hair of Shiva, is sanctifying Madhura town. Mahavishnu himself donated the bride to the bridegroom and organized the divine marriage of Meenakshi and Sundareshwara in a very grand scale. Sri Siddha Yogindra had added, "My son, Shankara Bhatta, vibrations emanate from every article in the creation. On account of these variegated vibrations, attraction and repulsion takes place with other things. In the gross, subtle and mortal, that is fleshy bodies, good vibrations due to good deeds and bad vibrations due to sinful acts arise. On account of meritorious virtue, desire for meeting pious persons, visiting holy places, and interest in righteous deeds will increase. Thereby, the virtuous merit gets enhanced. Unless that virtue increases and sin diminishes, we cannot have steady devotion towards Lord Datta. Variety of incidents happen owing to time, accumulated merit or demerit, or other causes. You could come here only on account of the boundless compassion of Sreevallabha on you. I was wondering at my extreme fortune and becoming excited in my mind. I was eager to reach Kurvapuram, and I decided not to leave the holy feet of Sreevallabha. When I woke up the next morning, I was subjected to amazement and astonishment because I was lying at the base of an Audumbara tree, that is the very sacred Indian fig tree, on a hillock. There was no movement of people in the surroundings. Was my stay during night in the hermitage of Sri Siddhendra Yogi merely a hallucination? Was Sri Siddhendra Yogi a cheat, a magician, or a devil? Such doubts crept in my mind. The words of Sri Siddha Yogindra about Lord Sri Datta were resounding in my ears. I wondered as to what use it would be for Sreepada Sreevallabha to keep me in such a predicament. Many thoughts were crossing in my mind. I collected my belongings and resumed my journey. My journey continued from morning till noon. I saw a village with small houses. The pangs of hunger increased and troubled me. I am a Brahmin and can take meals only in the houses of Brahmins. I cannot take meals elsewhere. I thought of preparing the meals myself if someone provides the materials. Then I can eat such food. I got a doubt whether any Brahmins were living in the village. So I asked some villagers about it. One of them said, "Sir, we are a hill tribe. I am the chief of this hamlet. There are no Brahmins in our village. You can accept fruits and honey from us if you have no objection. There is an adage that one can behave like a low-caste Shudra on the way during travels. Therefore, I considered that it was not wrong to accept anything offered by anybody in the course of travel. They placed before me fruits and honey from ant hills available in those ravines. When I was about to eat, a crow came from somewhere and started pecking me on my head. I tried to drive it away, but in vain. In the meanwhile, some more crows gathered. They started pecking my body in all spots in a wanton manner. I was panic stricken and began to run. Those crows were chasing me. There was no one in that village who could help me. The chief of the village spoke. Oh, what a strange thing! In our area, crows do not harm anyone. We wonder why these crows are so ferocious and obstinate to harm you. You must have abused a Siddha Purusha or dishonored him. You are undergoing this punishment because of his curse. If we are to obstruct the course of punishment, we have to incur the wrath of that sage. So we will not try to change the course of divine play. Please do not misunderstand. After saying this, the chief kept quiet. I could not take the fruits and honey given to me. My body became blood-stained. The crows chased and injured me even though I was running. I felt extremely sad at my dismal state. Has Sri Siddha Yogindra cursed me because I doubted him? But he had blessed me that I would have the fortune of seeing Shripada Sreevallabha. Probably I cannot have the darshana of Lord Sri Datta unless all my sins accumulated from past births are completely destroyed. I do not know how many sinful deeds I had amassed. How many punishments like this I have to suffer if all those sins are to be washed out? Oh, are so many difficulties and dangers involved in the blessing bestowed for the darshana of Sreevallabha? Oh God, still how many punishments you want to inflict on me? Now, who can save me? Shripada Sreevallabha, save me, save me. Sharanu, Sharanu, Shripada Sreevallabha. With such thoughts of absolute surrender, I slowly reached the root portion of an Audumbara tree. I thought that the Audumbara tree, which is the residing center of Lord Sri Datta, would protect me. But the sport of Lord Sri Datta ran contrary to my hope. An unprecedented foul smell was spreading from my body. Attracted by that odious odor, or by the irony of fate, big poisonous snakes were coming in a row quickly. They were biting me and leaving quickly. I was troubled by crows before. Now my entire body became poisonous because of bites from venomous serpents. Foam was coming out from my mouth. The strength of my heart began to decline. I thought that I was sure to die at any moment. It was evening dusk. Some washermen were going that way. They washed, dried and bundled the dried clothes. They kept the bundles on the backs of donkeys and were going. They noticed my miserable plight, but they hesitated to touch me for some time because I am a Brahmin. As delay might endanger my life, they regarded saving life as of prime importance. Hence, they seated me on a donkey and took me to their village. For me, all troublesome incidents were taking place in a procession on that day. The washermen took me to the colony of cobblers. One of those tanners had knowledge of medicine relating to poison. They kept me on a cot, the bottom of which was laced with cords of tikan. The premises was full of bad smell. That cobbler physician made juice from some wild herbs. He made me drink that juice. He tied some leaves on the points where snakes had bitten me. He plucked some tender leaves from an Audumbara tree. Juice like milk was flowing from those leaves. He kept stems of those leaves in my 2 ears. I was getting terrible pain. I tried to get up and run away. Two strong men held me firmly. I was helpless. That physician instructed his assistants. The poison will come into the Audumbara leaves. After that, you have to burn those poisonous leaves. The man will cry much louder as the poison increasingly gets transferred to the Audumbara leaves. So you hold him firmly. After some time, the poison was neutralized. I became healthy. I stayed in the house of the cobbler all throughout the night. The skin tanner was singing during the whole night. Datta Digambara, Datta Digambara, Sripada Vallabha Datta Digambara. I was lying on the cot. My heart swelled on hearing the extremely melodious names of the Lord. My love for the cobbler enhanced because he became my co-disciple of our Guru due to the spiritual relationship. In the next moment, I was pained with the realization that I was born in a superior Brahmin caste and that he was a low caste cobbler. The teaching of a cobbler called Vallabhadasa to Shankara Bhatta. After completing the singing, the cobbler came to me. The compassion was overflowing from his eyes. His two eyes were suggesting the experience of self. A doubt crept in my mind whether he was some yogi. He turned to me and said, "Sir, my name is Vallabhadasa. I am an artisan doing work with the hides of animals. I was born in a low caste. There is no doubt about it. Nevertheless, I want to tell you some information. I already knew that your name is Shankara Bhatta and that you are traveling to visit Shripada Sreevallabha. Not only that, I also know why you were harassed by crows and snakes on the way." I was astonished. I thought that probably he made some study of astrology and acquired some proficiency in the subject. Vallabhadasa said immediately, "Sir, I am not an astrologer. Shri Kshetra Pitikapuram is the birthplace of great scholars. It is the holy place where Sanga Vedardha Samrata Pandita, that is an emperor in the Vedic lore, Malladi Bapannavadhani actually lived. The Vedas, while attempting to describe the Supreme Being, became tired in the process. They could not pinpoint the phenomenon correctly and simply ruled out everything, saying, "This is not, this is not." Such is the nature of Supreme Being. Pithapuram is the sacred place where that supreme phenomenon is born as Shriepada Sreevallabha. Dry philosophy and meaningless debates cannot earn the grace of Shripada Sreevallabha. There is no need for scholarly excellence to obtain the mercy of Shripada. On the other hand, pedantic pride will throw us far away from him. The crows that pecked at you were great pandits who lived in Pithapuram during their previous lives. They could not recognize the divine nature of Sreevallabha and they could not realize him as Lord Datta. Thus, they wasted their whole lives. They could recite Vedas upside down. But what use? They were repeating words like Krama, Ghana, Jata, Swadhya, and exhibiting their arrogance. After death, they went to heaven. Indra praised them. He showered praise on them, saying, "Oh, you are Kramanta, you are Ghanapati, you are Jati. Oh, you are an expert in Tarka, that is argument. What a fortune! How many hundreds and thousands of times you have recited Veda? What a merit! What a merit! Only because of that merit you could step into Swarga." All the denizens of Indraloka admired them sky high. However, these pandits suffered the pangs of hunger. Divine ambrosia was available in heaven. They heard that one is freed from hunger and thirst by drinking it. These people directly submitted their problem to Indra, as none paid any heed to them. To that, Indra replied, "Veda is the form of Lord's inhalation and exhalation. The Lord is infinite and deathless. Therefore, Vedas are also infinite. Vedas are the basis for all dharmas, that is, ethical principles. By chanting Vedas, you have praised the Lord. As a reward for it, we the celestials are also praising you highly. Otherwise, is it possible for you to get encomiums from me? If one desires food, he must provide food to others. If one donates a grain, we the celestials enhance it to 1,000 grains and return them to the donor as a reward. When you have not donated anything, how can we help? Because of your Vedic recitation, you derived immense benefit. Therefore, you can reside freely in Indraloka as long as it exists. Afterwards, you can go to another world. In this way, you can remain eternally free." Those who heard the words of Indra faced a difficult situation. It occurred to them that to live eternally without food and suffer prolonged hunger and thirst was indeed an unbearable punishment. Indra said again, "You lived in the holy Padagaya Kshetra, but you performed annual ceremonies to manes of your ancestors without care and concern. You were always calculating the expenditure incurred for such functions. You were also absorbed in the thought that you were eating delicious food items, but you were devoid of care and devotion required for the performance of those solemn ceremonies. As a result, your forefathers did not attain noble positions after their death. Your heirs were also behaving like that. Your children also did lament that you lived too long, and a large amount of money was wasted on medical facilities provided to you. They even wondered, oh, how much food was wasted? Srimanarayana himself incarnated as Sreepada Sreevallabha in the midst of you. When he was showing the way for salvation, you abused him. You indulged in fruitless arguments and counter-arguments. Even though all the auspicious traits like omnipresence, omniscience, omnipotence, and qualities of an incarnation were clearly visible, you became blind people who could not recognize Sripada Sreevallabha as an avatara of Sri Datta. It is ordained that you remain as crows in the forms of the manes of your ancestors till you drink the blood of a person whose body was purified by the chanting of the sacred name of Sripada Sreevallabha. Sri Vallabha Dasa said, Shankara Bhatta, It was for that reason they were born as crows, and on account of their previous merit, they drank your blood and obtained noble status. Then I noticed that Vallabhadasa was not an ordinary person, and that the grace of Shripada Srivallabha was completely on him. Srivallabhadasa added, Sir, the serpents who were attracted by the scent emanating from your body attained salvation. I said, Sir, great Vallabhadasa ji, why should this incident take place? If my body were to be used as food for crows, serpents, and other living creatures, it would be a harrowing experience for me. I am under constant fear of being attacked by any creature at any time. Sri Vallabhadasa said, Sir, this is all a sportive play of Shripada. Do not have such fear. Such accidents would not take place in future. Only the one who gives life will have the authority to take out life. Therefore, such authority is not vested in anyone except God. However, some of your ancestors worshipped goddess Kali of the burial ground. With the help of that mantra, they killed many people whom they disliked. They earned great sin because they were responsible for the unnatural deaths of those people. Due to that sin, they took birth as snakes. But as you were also born in their family, you were all blood relations. Moreover, you obtained the mercy of Shripada. Because of this small merit, this incident took place and they got salvation. A Brahmin should be a seeker of truth. A Kshatriya should be bound by dharma. A Vaishya should attend to cultivation, protection of cattle, skilled sale and purchase activities. Therefore, he should be a calm person. A Shudra should be a loving one and render services. Even then, there is no distinction between caste, creed, rich and poor for the grant of divine grace. A Brahmin can follow the duty of Kshatriya and can become a king. When a Kshatriya desires knowledge of Brahman, he can adopt the duty of a Brahmin. Had not Kusumashreshthi, who was a Vaishya, chose Kshatriya dharma and become a ruler? According to Brahmanic dharma, killing an enemy is sinful. But in Kshatriya dharma, it is a prescribed duty. You are a Brahmin and a seeker of truth. Therefore, non-violence is a supreme duty for you, but not for a butcher. So if a man wants to get proper results from his actions, he should perform the duties according to the dharma adopted by him, irrespective of the caste to which he belongs. As you are at present ill, it is desirable and necessary that you should be with a doctor. That is why you are brought to me. Please note that Shripada Srivallabha will observe us every moment. In your childhood, you were reciting the prayers about Lord Vishnu. You were prattling with your friends in a funny manner. It is indeed a prayer for Lord Ganesha. For the words in the shloka, Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. You are giving a perverted interpretation for the sake of fun. You were giving the following meanings. For Shuklam Baradharam, you said that which bear white clothes. For Vishnum, you said that which is everywhere. For Shashivarnam, you said white ash colored. For Chaturbhujam, you said 4 legs instead of 4 hands. For Prasannavadanam, you said the donkey will have a gracious face when it brays, and the donkey will kick people with its hind legs. For Dhyayet, you said, so its face is only pleasant to look at. For Sarva Vignopashantaye, you said, I pray for abatement of all obstacles. In this way, you were jokingly giving a perverse meaning to that holy prayer and extended its meaning as a prayer applicable to a donkey. Shankara Bhatta, Lord Datta, is a skilled one. The Lord would rectify the mistakes also made by you for fun in His presence. The washerman brought you to me on a donkey. At that time, you were covered with dust and bore an ashen color. You came here with halting pace, and sometimes you walked on all your fours, that is 2 hands and 2 legs, supporting yourself on your hands placed on the ground. Even though you came to the Audumbara tree on all your fours, gasping for breath, you could not avoid the accident. Your hope of escaping from the serpents in this way was belied. You had a placid countenance if you do not convulse with pain. At last, you were brought to the village of cobblers. In subjecting you to so many miseries, Sreepada provided entertainment and taught you a lesson. Those tanners were freed from their ignoble births. You were teaching the prayer shloka of Shri Vishnu to your friend in a jocular manner. That is the reason why you have come to a position where you have to hear the teaching of a low caste person like me. Now you are here. Tomorrow you may stay in the house of your own caste people. If you disclose this incident even by mistake, they will ostracize you. With the good teaching of Sri Vallabhadasa, the Brahmanic arrogance in me decreased. The feeling disappeared that Vallabhadasa was a pariah. I had brotherly love for him as if he was my blood relation. I accepted the hospitality of Vallabhadasa for 2 or 3 days and left the village afterwards. What can I describe about the mercy of Sreevallabha? I was involved in very strange circumstances in a town called Vichitrapuram and came out in a strange way. When I was going on foot from Vichitrapuram, some royal servants approached me with humble obedience and inquired whether I was a Vaishnava or a Shaiva. I told them that we were Smarthas who observe no distinction between Shiva and Keshava, but we show some inclination towards Shaivism, and that the pontiff of southern monastery Sri Sringeri Shankaracharya was our preceptor. They requested me to visit their king. I went with them for the royal audience. On the way, I understood some peculiar matters. That king was inviting any Brahmin who was seen on that day and questioning, if this much is for that much, how much will be for this much? No one could give a satisfactory answer to that question. That king conducted a sacrifice some years back to beget sons. Fortunately, he got a son. However, from that day, Brahmins faced peculiar troubles as the son born to the king became a mute. The king was of the opinion that because of the defective sacrifice performed by the Brahmins, his son became dumb. Therefore, the king got the heads of Shaivite Brahmins completely shaved, marked their faces with the paint of vertical Vaishnavite lines, and paraded them on the back of donkeys. Likewise, he got the heads of Vaishnavite Brahmins cleanly shaved, marked their faces with horizontal lines made of holy ash, and paraded them seated on the back of donkeys. This situation became unbearable to both Shaivas and Vaishnavas. The king suddenly began to behave in a quixotic fashion. He was donating totakura, that is a green leafy vegetable, liberally to the Brahmins. He ordered that totakura should be cultivated in large acreage of the cultivable land. He was collecting half of the taxes in the form of totakura. Cartloads of totakura were collected and kept in the fort. Totakura was donated in very large quantities and Brahmins could not consume it fully. Cooking of rice and eating of other victuals was forbidden for the Brahmins. After eating cooked totakura in the main meals, they had to eat cooked or uncooked totakura as a tiffin. What can the poor Brahmins do? All the Brahmins who took great pride as scholars in logic, scholars in philosophy, and scholars in Puranas, that are quasi-legendary stories, shed their arrogance and were praying to God silently and pitiably to redress their evil plight. There was a devotee of Datta who was an ardent follower of Datta cult among the Brahmins. He said that Lord Dattatreya becomes merciful at mere remembrance, and the Lord only can remove their miserable condition. Therefore, all the Brahmins observed Mandala Diksha, that is a spiritual discipline, for 40 days and began worshipping Lord Dattatreya. As his son was dumb, the king wanted to encourage the language for the dumb. He instructed the Rajaguru, that is the preceptor of the king, to write a book on the language of the dumb. That preceptor of the royal court was formerly very haughty. Then he was in a very miserable state and undertook extensive research in the mute language. The discussion between Shankara Bhatta and Maharaja. I was taken before the king. I was perspiring profusely. I thought about how much rigorous test SRIPADA Sreevallabha imposed upon me. I was mentally chanting the name of Sreepada without any pause. I was getting courage which I did never possess before. The king posed the same question which he asked all the people. He asked me, if this much is for that much, how much will be for this much? I replied solemnly, this much only for this much. The king was taken aback and said, Mahatma, you are great. I became blessed on seeing you. Only recently I had recollection of the knowledge about my past lives. I was a very poor Brahmin in my previous birth. I was growing totakura in my house. I was offering it freely to all those who asked for it. The Brahmins who received it from me were all wealthy and did not suffer from want of food and water. They simply took the vegetable gratis from me but did not cooperate with me on any day. They did not show any mercy on me. Whenever they were deputing me on their behalf for annual ceremonies of ancestors or for marriages, the householders used to give me large amounts of money and presents. Out of this, the people who were deputing me were snatching 99% and releasing 1% for me. Labor was mine and reward was theirs. In addition, they were getting free supply of totakura from my house. I was suffering from acute poverty but continued to donate totakura as usual. Those Brahmins were saying that the vegetable was very tasty and no harm would happen by eating it daily. The circle of time rotated swiftly. as I was donating Totakura in spite of my abject poverty, I am born as a king in this birth. Those brahmins who received that green vegetable from me took birth as brahmins in my kingdom. In this way, I was born many times richer and greater than them. By donating Totakura, I became a king. Now I am donating greater quantities of that vegetable in cartloads. So I am asking everyone what would be the magnificent state I would achieve in future as a result of my present donations. You only gave a correct answer to my peculiar question. The king concluded his speech. Then I explained, Raja, Totakura was very valuable under the circumstances of your previous life, but considering your present exalted position, its value is negligible. Being in a position to donate diamonds, precious stones, and gold, you are still donating Totakura. So, however much you donate that green leafy vegetable, you cannot get anything more except 100 times of that Totakura. The king was very much pleased with my reply. It gave great relief to my mind that for a casual reply of mine, the king gave an account of his previous life. I felt that owing to the great grace of Sreepada, the dishonor of riding a donkey was avoided. I had already mounted a donkey for misinterpretation of the sacred verse Shuklambaradhanam Vishnum for fun in my childhood. I offered salutations in my mind to Sreepada, who saved me from riding a donkey in a disgraceful condition. Then started the second test. The test was held in the language of the dumb, which was very much dear to the king. The Rajaguru began to examine me. Showing his fingers, the Rajaguru questioned me with signs whether it was 1 or 2. I thought that he was asking me whether I came alone or I was accompanied by anyone. I replied with signs showing one finger that I came singly. Then he showed me 3 fingers. That suggested to me about Lord Datta. I assumed that he was inquiring whether I was a devotee of Datta. I felt that devotion should be kept as a secret. So I showed a closed fist and conveyed the message that it was a secret matter which belonged to the innermost heart. For that, the Rajaguru offered sweets, requesting me with gestures to accept. I refused to accept, and I showed a pack of flattened rice. I took some flattened rice from the bundle and gave them. My idea was that I liked flattened rice more than the sweets and that they could also partake them. Then the Rajaguru in a profound voice praised, Raja, he is a great Pandit. It is known that he is a great Vedic scholar who mastered all Vedas. He is a great expert in the sign language of the deaf. All of this was perplexing to me. Then Rajaguru told the king, Raja, I asked him whether Shiva and Keshava are one or are they different. Showing one finger, he said that both are one. I showed him 3 fingers indicating that Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara exist differently. He replied by showing his closed fist and questioned, Are not the 5 fingers of the hand existing collectively as one? I offered him sweetmeats, requesting him to accept me as his disciple. Thereupon he indicated that he is not bothered with disciples and that he leads a contented life like Kuchela. Saying so, he turned down my request and gave me parched and flattened rice. I was astonished. Oh, I wondered how vastly varied are the methods of understanding minds and thoughts in the world. Then, the third and final examination. Rajaguru was reading the mantras from Rudra Chamaka, that are the verses from Rudradhya invoking the blessings of Rudra for grant of various desires, and wanted me to explain their meaning. Remembering Sreevallabha, I began to expatiate their meaning according to my perfunctory knowledge. Ekachame means one. Tisraschame means number 3 added to the previous one. The sum of it is 4 and its mathematical root is 2. Panchachame is addition of 5 to the previously arrived 4. That gives the sum of 9 and its mathematical root is 3. Saptachame signifies the addition of 7 to the already arrived number 9. The total is 16 and the root of it is 4. Navachame means adding 9 to the already derived number 16. The total works out to 25 and the root is 5. Ekadashachame involves addition of 11 to the number 25 already worked out. The total is 36 and its root is 6. Trayodashachame is addition of 13 to the previously arrived 36. The total comes to 49 and its mathematical root is 7. Panchadashachame means additions of 15 to the number 49. The total is 64 and its root is 8. Saptadashachame is 17 plus 64 that equals to 81 and the mathematical root is 9. The other factors are as told. Navadashachame, that is 19 plus 81 which is equal to 100 and its root is 10. Ekavigumshatishchame, that is 21 plus 100 which is equal to 121 and its root is 11. Trayovigumshatishchame, that is 23 plus 121 which equals 144 and its root is 12. Panchavigumshatishchame is 25 added to 144 which equals 169 and its root is 13. Saptavigumshatishchame is 27 added to 169 which is equal to 196 and its root is 14. Navavigumshatishchame is 29 plus 196 which equals to 225 and its root is 15. Ekatrigumshatishchame is 31 plus 225 which equals to 256 and its root is 16. I explained in the foregoing manner the mathematical mysteries enshrined in the Vedic mantras of Rudrachamaka. My explanation was highly appreciated by the scholars of the court. I was amazed at my own explanation. Again I added, all this is about the mystery of atoms responsible for creation. This was known to Sage Kaanaada. Various metals form according to the different arrangement of the number of atoms. On account of the great mercy of Sripada Sreevallabha, I came out of Vichitrapuram in a strange way in the above manner. Victory! Victory to Sri Sripada Sreevallabha! Here ends the second chapter of Sripada Sreevallabha Charitamrutam.
आदौ ब्रह्म मध्ये विष्णुरन्ते देवः सदाशिवः मध्ये विष्णुरन्ते देवः सदा शिवः मूर्तित्रय स्वरूपाय मूर्तित्रय स्वरूपाय मूर्तित्रय स्वरूपाय दत्तात्रेय नमोस्तुते दत्तात्रेय 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 नमोस्तुते दत्तात्रेय नमोस्तुते श्री गुरु महाप्रभुं श्री गुरु महाप्रभुं वन्दे श्री गुरु महाप्रभुं वन्दे श्रुतजनसुरधेनुं निरतं 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 श्री गुरु महाप्रभुं सागर गंभीरं सागर गंभीरं सेवे सुरनुतशीलं देवं सागर गंभीरं सेवे सुरनुतशीलं देवं सागर गंभीरं सेवे सुरनुतशीलं देवं रागिजनानत चरणं शरणं रागधारं रागविदूरं रागिजनानत चरणं शरणं रागधारं रागविदूरं श्री गुरु महाप्रभुं वन्दे श्रुतजनसुरधेनुं निरतं श्री गुरु महाप्रभुं शशिप्रभा सुन्दरवदनं श्रुतिततिमूलं श्रीगुरुदत्तं शशिप्रभा सुन्दरवदनं श्रुतिततिमूलं श्रीगुरुदत्तं कुशीलवाधृत गानविलोलं करधृतमालं कोमलचित्तं कुशीलवाधृत गानविलोलं करधृतमालं कोमलचित्तं कुशीलवाधृत गानविलोलं करधृतमालं कोमलचित्तं यशोविराजितदिगन्तरालं यतिकुलदीपं योगकलापं यशोविराजितदिगन्तरालं यतिकुलदीपं योगकलापं श्रीगुरुमहाप्रभुं यशोविराजितदिगन्तरालं यतिकुलदीपं योगकलापं श्रीगुरुमहाप्रभुं वन्दे श्रुतजनसुरधेनुं निरतं श्रीगुरुमहाप्रभुं